So what's good, Straw Gang, and welcome back to another Season 3 video. So for tonight's upload, I'm going to be covering my personal favorite 5 SMGs and their class setups within Warzone Season 3 after the nerfs and buff that was made to quite a lot of weapons within this game. And I'm doing this to celebrate that nerf and buff update that happened within the game, because the Fafa has obviously been a very dominant close-range weapon for the last month and a bit. It's crazy to think that we had an assault rifle fill the role of an SMG so heavily, and that's why I'm doing this, to celebrate it finally slowly fizzling out of the meta. Obviously people are still going to run around with it, and I don't understand why. It's crazy to think that people just sit on the same weapons constantly, because right now I would say the Warzone meta is in the best spot that it's ever been. There is just such a huge variety of weapons to use right now, and I'm going to be going over the SMGs because we can finally use quite a handful of them, and these are my personal top 5 favorite SMGs with their class setups. So kicking off this list at the number 5 spot, I'm going to be placing the Cold War MP5. Now the reason this is at the bottom of the list, despite it being one of my favorite SMGs in this game, is because of the recoil pattern. Anytime I've made a video on this gun, the most comments I've got about it is the recoil pattern and how people just don't bother using it because there's other SMGs in the game that are low recoil, that kill faster, that feel better. But this Cold War MP5, once you get that recoil down and you get good at controlling it, it feels like such a speedy, just fast, really good weapon to use personally. That's my personal preference. So going into the class setup for the Cold War MP5, I have 2 different setups for you guys. The first one is for people who can't control the recoil as well, and that's going to be Agency Suppressor, 9.5 Ranger Barrel, Field Agent Grip, as well as 40 round speed mag, and the Raider stock. So this is still a very speedy, fast-paced, in-your-face type of class, but for the people who don't have as much trouble, I would take out Field Agent and use the Airborne Elastic Wrap, as the wraps did get updated, and we can now, actually get the benefits from those. So getting the extra ADS speed from the Airborne is really good if you can control the recoil without the Field Agent Grip. Personally, I can, and I would go without the Field Agent and use the Airborne. So that's my class setup for the Cold War MP5. So coming in at the number 4 spot, I'm going to be placing the Bullfrog. This is definitely one of my favorite SMGs in the game. I've had a lot of good gameplays with this, but the reason I'm placing it lower on the list is because you have to be pretty accurate with this gun. It's not very forgiving if you miss shots, but at the same time, when you do, and if you, get your accuracy down with it, it is a very good gun to use, and it's also very easy to control as well. Like, there is almost no recoil on this gun. I honestly believe you could give this to a 5-year-old who's never touched a controller before, and they'd be able to control this recoil. But anyway, moving on to the class setup, I'm going to be rocking the GRU Suppressor, as well as the Liberator Barrel, the GRU 5M, the Laser Sight, and I'll talk about that more in a second, as well as no stock, and the standard fast mag. The reason I've gone with the Laser Sight is because, like I said, this gun is not forgiving if you miss your shots, and if you end up getting in a crazy close range engagement, getting that hip fire down as well as a bit of ADS is very, very helpful as well. So it'll just kind of help you hit those extra shots if you need to, because running into buildings, sometimes people are camping, sitting in corners, and just being able to get that hip fire off straight away without having to ADS, it cuts a lot of time. That could really, really save you. And if you're more confident with this gun and you feel like you can hit your shots with it, yet again, I would go with the Airborne Elastic Wrap, as you actually get the benefits from the wraps and you'll get a bit of extra ADS speed as well. And with that being said, that is my Bullfrog class setup. So coming in at the number 3 spot, I'm going to be dropping the one and only MAC-10. I feel like you guys expected to see it on this list, and the reason it's not in the top 2 is because obviously I feel like those SMGs are better. The MAC-10 honestly, man, has fallen off. It just doesn't hit the same as it used to. I've been kind of using a little bit here and there to revisit it, and there's just SMGs I feel dominate more than it, even if statistically they don't, right? The MAC-10 just doesn't hit the same. But moving into the class setup, I'm going to be rocking Agency Suppressor, the Ranger Barrel, SWAT 5M the Blazer, as well as SAS Combat Stock, and the 43 round speed mag. Something I also want to mention is that I am mainly a solo player, so if you play duos, trios, quads, the 53 round, or the biggest mag for the weapon, is probably better to go with, but I do main solos, so I just use kind of the standard fast mag, or one that adds 10 or 15 extra rounds and the fast mag. So I just want to mention that. Now, as for the laser sight on this gun, I highly recommend giving it a go. The underbarrel and rear grip are useless with this gun because not only is it easy to control, the recoil is not very high, it's very easy to control, but also the ADS is fast enough on this, and if you do hip fire instead of ADSing in situations where you actually can, this gun is very lethal at close range, and you can just get so many easy quick kills by hip firing instead of ADSing, and that is where the 5M laser sight will help you the most. And that is my MAC-10 best class setup. So coming in at the number 2 spot for this list, I'm going to be placing one of my all-time favorite meta weapons within Warzone, and that is going to be the Modern Warfare MP5. This gun, without a doubt, has stood the test of time. It's been probably one of the most reliable SMGs throughout the whole life cycle of this game. It's just one of those SMGs you can't go wrong with. It's a very good weapon. I also recently just got my first 30 kill solo win with this and the AMAX, so it's pretty damn good. Now, as for the class setup, I'm sure almost all of you know or are going to be familiar with setups for this gun. That's going to be the monolithic integral suppressor, as well as Merc foregrip, tac laser, the 45 round mag, and stippled grip tape. I know some people have their variations of classes with this. Some might use no stock instead of tac laser, or maybe sleight of hand instead of stippled. There are a few variations you can go with. Monolithic integral, Merc foregrip, and the 45 round mags are the three main attachments for this weapon. And the only other thing I'd personally switch out is 5MW for tac laser if you want to get those hip fire shots off, like I've mentioned with the Bullfrog and the Mac 10. That can be very, very helpful, man. Like I said before, cutting out that ADS time in your gunfights, especially in those building engagements and those very close range chaotic engagements, it's very, very helpful. And that is going to be my Modern Warfare MP5 class setup. So coming in at the #1 spot, the SMG that I feel like dominates this category the absolute most, the shred machine, the melt machine, whatever you want to call it, that is going to be the LC10. This gun has very quickly become my favorite weapon within the game. When it first dropped, I absolutely knew I was going to like this in the future and that it would have a place in the game, but at the time the Fafar was just too dominant, and now that it's kind of fizzling out of the meta, as I mentioned in the beginning of the video, this gun is finding its place in the game, and I absolutely knew it would. When the Night Rebirth mode was on during the event and everything, I was playing solo duos on stream, and I was absolutely ripping duos with this gun, and even got a couple solo duo wins on that mode as well. So the class setup is going to be the agency suppressor, the 11.9 reinforced heavy barrel, as well as 42 round speed mag, the airborne elastic wrap, and the Raider stock. This is undoubtedly my personal best SMG class that I can recommend. The gun just feels so good, so very easy to control, hence why I'm not using an underbarrel. This is kind of like the Bullfrog. The recoil is very, very low, and honestly almost anyone can control this. I'd be worried if you can't, because it just has such little recoil. If it didn't shred, I wouldn't be putting it at this spot, right? I wouldn't have any bias to the position of it, but I really do like this gun. The iron sights, the feel of it, just everything. It's my absolute favorite SMG in the game right now. I'm still getting my feet wet with the PPSH. I haven't ranked it max yet, or maxed it out yet, so I can't kind of compare it to the PPSH, but that is my 5 SMGs that I feel are the best in the game right now, as well as their class setups. So I really hope you guys enjoyed that top 5 SMGs and classes list for Warzone Season 3 after the nerfs and buffs to quite a few weapons within this game. I've got 2 ideas for more top 5 classes and loadouts, so be on the lookout for that. If you don't want to miss them, hit that red sub button down below with post notifications on, because you actually get notified when I do upload and when I go live as well, because I'm grinding the game every single day with you guys on stream. So thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you on the next one. Have a good day, everybody, and I'm out.